This is Breaking News with your host, Queso, the one and only.
Breaking news! Blake Griffin just broke the internet. Let's go, Blake! Drop a bomb on him, Flex! Now, on the roast of Alec Baldwin, Detroit Pistons player Blake Griffin, well, the preferences, Blake Griffin has been trying his stand-up career on the offseason because he knows they're not coming out the East. Let's call a spade a spade. But this looks promising. We've seen a lot of athletes try to venture into other things, especially comedy and music, in the twilight of their careers. And Blake Griffin has been able to genuinely sort of make a market for himself in this comedy thing. We had him at the Ha Ha shows in California. He did the cab driver, where it's like he's an undercover cab driver when he was in Canada. And now on the roast of Alec Baldwin, Blake Griffin comes out, and instead of to roast the person they're roasting, he floated up the clip and went straight for Caitlyn Jenner, who was also on the panel of people to speak. He starts off by pretty much saying that nobody with Caitlyn's reassignment surgery, nobody is see, I'm not as funny. I'll just splice a clip. Anyway,
completed her gender reassignment in 2017. Finally confirmed that no one in that family wants a white kid.
Blake Griffin, Caitlyn Jenner, good sport, stood up. She gave him a round of applause. Being a former athlete, I think athletes share a kind of respect between each other and some kind of mutual camaraderie. I just didn't think that Blake Griffin would go where he went with that. Now, we've seen Chappelle, Bill Burr, people like that come out with more edgy comedy specials. And I think it's been about since 2014 that anybody has even dared to threaten or make jokes. Threaten the name, not physically, but make jokes, you know, any kind of disparaging comments against the LGBTQ community. They've been out here like Teflon Dons. And Blake Griffin, shots fired. I thought it was funny. You know what I'm saying? And I should really say that I am not the Lomega on... I should say that I'm not the Alpha Omega on the LGBTQ community and what they find acceptable. So while this might offend a lot of people and have them at an uproar, Twitter's been sort of going nuts about it. Personally, as a nigga who still has his penis, shit was funny to me. I'm sorry. Hopefully, you know, don't come at me though. You know, we've been rocking with the LGBTQ community for a while now. Shout out to you, LGBTQ community. Stand up. But Blake being an NBA player, having the endorsements he has, you know, the ties to a powerful entity like the NBA, you wouldn't think he'd go as far to dive so out the window like that, to just take those shots that he took, and he did it. He killed it. He wasn't afraid of anything. It was all in good spirits. It was a joke. We can't be mad at this. I think it was hilarious. I'm happy that Blake Griffin's good at comedy, because that ride along that I watched just a couple days ago, I was thinking about making a video about it, but I was like, I don't know. It was sort of cringy at parts.
New York. You guys can do it too if you want. Do you mind taking just a couple shots of me while I'm driving?
But he is funny. He's a funny person. He has good comedic timing. He's one of those people that's just so dryly sarcastic that it sort of hits. And it hits. I ain't gonna lie to you, cuz it sort of hits. That nigga hilarious. But I like it. He also said that he wants to thank Caitlyn and on behalf of all the NBA players, all professional athletes, and half of the musicians on the Billboard 100 charts for her daughter's daddy issues. Boy, that back to back with the zingers, with the high. So it's a knee slapper. Blake was killing it, and I liked it. let's see if Blake can turn into a comedian. Are we looking at the making of a next comedian great or comedy's great? I don't even know the proper tense of saying that. And you can tell I didn't really rehearse this, didn't write no scripts. I'm just sort of freestyling with my peoples because we go off the top. This is breaking news. I ain't had time to write a script. Blake is fire out here. He's on fire in this comedy world. We've seen a lot of people talk about it. I'm happy for Blake. I'm happy for the Pistons because this will give them some kind of light that hasn't been signed on them for a little bit, because Blake came. That was the last time anybody really cared about the Pistons. They weren't that great. And Blake Griffin is doing what a lot of professional athletes, not just NBA players, is doing, is making, creating the when I leave my game, my sport, my profession right now, my future bag. And that is a bag that I'm happy that he's getting in, because he's not going to ball forever. He's definitely not going to be putting up 23, 9, and 3 for forever. Let's talk about it. Now, this was some breaking news. If you want to check it out, go to Comedy Central's website. They got the whole clip. It's like a minute of just Blake Griffin's part in it. And like I say, it was Alec Baldwin's roast. He made one joke about Alec Baldwin, but it was mainly about Caitlyn Jenner. And the joke he made about Alec Baldwin sort of fell. It sort of fell flat. It was something about like,
Caitlyn's pussy is so young. Alec just called her a rude, thoughtless little pig.
her pussy so new that he would call it some blah, 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 blah. Nah, I ain't get it. It was some white comedy. It wasn't my bag. But the Caitlyn shit was hilarious. And comedy comes from, like, you ever heard the expression, if we don't cry, we laugh? Comedy comes from a place of like, did he really say that? The best comedy does. And when you can do it masterfully, it just shows a true understanding and high level proficiency at comedy. High level proficiency. Both those words mean the same thing. Breaking